Okay, so change is always a catalyst for momentum. Momentum doesn't come from just anywhere out of the blue. Something shifted and something changed within your organization in order to cause that momentum. And what actually causes change? And so what's a catalyst for change? So I was on a staff and on a team, and I remember there was a particular day in which I had to confront one of our team members as far as what they were doing, something that I felt like was dangerous, that I felt like was outside the best interest of the organization. And I was at a time of just kind of having some tension and some frustration in this relationship with this other team member. And I remember this one specific day, I had a conversation with him in the parking lot, and I absolutely blew it. I was angry and I made a fool of myself, and I could never get those moments back. In that moment when I lost it and when I decided that it was more important for me to express my internal frustration and anger, it was at that moment that I lost credibility, and even some trust and some relational equity that I would never get back. And I've had relationships in my life and in the process of just leadership to where I've noticed a couple different things, and that one of these things that I'll tell you is a catalyst for change in the best leaders is they embrace the idea of being wrong. When you make mistakes, when you're looking at something differently, when there's an idea that's better than yours in the room, are you able to actually admit, like, there's a different way, there's a better way, and admit when you make mistakes? There are some people that you will bump into, and I've bumped into them several different times, to where they actually value being right more than they value progress. When you run into this type of personality, I have to be honest with you, there's nothing that you can do about this. That person is not going to change because their value systems and what they're chasing after is completely in a different planet than the things that you're chasing down. But there's three specific types of personalities that when it comes to how you're dealing with yourself, but also when you're dealing with your teams, that I wanted to talk to you about today. And this is what I call the art of being wrong. Being wrong can actually be a catalyst for growth and a catalyst for change, which leads to a catalyst for momentum. The first thing is that you're gonna have a group of people that are never wrong. And this is frustrating, and so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but you will have people on your team to where they're going to actually verbally and even psychologically and mentally and behaviorally, they're going to tell you that they're not wrong, and they will never admit that they're wrong. And the reason why they do this is, the first reason is because they don't value truth. And that's a hard thing for leaders to navigate. And the second thing is that a lot of times they just won't admit that they're wrong, because by them admitting that they're wrong, they're acknowledging that somebody else in the room is stronger, more powerful, more influential. And these things are just dangerous, and there's nothing that you can do to fix this thing. Okay, so the second group of people that are in this group is what we call the passive community, or the passive crowd. The passive crowd, whether you believe it or not, is probably the largest group of people that you're talking to, and you even might actually be in this passive crowd. I want to just keep this pretty simple, because it's just simply this, is that when you are confronted with an idea, or when you're being confronted with a behavior in which somebody doesn't agree with you, or whether they have something different to bring to the table that might actually be a better idea, do you just simply smile and nod and make the person that's talking to you think that you agree with them, but nothing actually ever happens in here? Or do you embrace change? The majority of the people that are actually in your room today, right now, the leaders, the reason why leadership sometimes can be difficult is because as you are leading your crowd and leading your team, if you haven't actually embraced a culture of being wrong, you actually might be leading a group of people that are simply more comfortable of just smiling their heads or nodding their heads and smiling at you at ideas, but nothing actually gets traction because there isn't anything in here that says, oh, there's a better way, there's a different way, that might be a better idea, because it's simply more safe just to keep doing what we do, which continues this cycle of brain damage. So third crowd is what I call the agreeable crowd. And the agreeable crowd is not a weak crowd, okay? Agreeableness is actually part of the 5 big personality traits theory. And what you're going to find with the 5 big personality traits theory is just simply this, is that the agreeableness, you're going to have people that are more trusting, you're going to have an optimistic person, you're going to have somebody who's more open to ideas, you're going to have somebody who has a high level of empathy. There's been studies that actually show that people that have a higher level of agreeableness within who they actually are as people have a higher level of intellectual humility. I think that this is something that we can all work on. It's a superpower. This is something that actually helps build credibility and building trust and building camaraderie on your team, is that when you build a culture and when you build things within your team that says, hey, confront me, bring a better idea to me, show me that there's a better way, it actually helps you build a bridge to credibility. So what do we do with all this? The first thing is this, is that accepting and acknowledging and actually fundamentally feeling that you might be wrong, this is actually a gift. And I challenge you to receive this gift, because here's why it's a gift, is that when you actually start to realize that there might be a better way, when there might be something that is better for you and better for your team, and that there is something significant that you can bring to the table, it actually relieves you from the cycle of death and a cycle of brain damage. It takes you out of those moments of you being stuck, and for you to keep doing the same things over and over and over again that have gotten you exactly where you're at when you were built for so much more. So embrace being wrong. I challenge you today, just on a couple things, is that look at the things that you're doing right now through a different lens. Is there something that you could shift just a little bit, maybe do a little bit different way? Are there relationships and conversations that are coming to your mind right now today to where you can say, you know what, I think I might have been wrong on that and I need to go readdress that? I promise you, by you just shifting a couple of these little things, you're going to build a bridge towards greater credibility. You're going to create a culture that actually is more open. You're going to build a culture that's more agreeable, but you're going to build trust and you're going to get traction like you've never seen before, which is going to lead to change, which is going to lead to momentum. I would love to have your feedback. Thanks for tuning in.